You are welcome to today's webinar, and we are going to be looking at a very exciting topic, agriculture in 2026. We are going to be looking at the opportunities, the risk, and the winning strategies for a profitable year. So I am Samuel Watobi, and I have a guest here tonight, and we are going to be having a conversation around this topic together in person of Ejeba Nathaniel. He's an agricultural coach, and he's going to introduce himself before he starts talking. So you might be wondering, you might be asking, why is this conversation important? The truth is that to be successful in anything in life, agribusiness inclusive, you have to take planning very seriously, especially when you are doing it at a scale, let's say maybe medium scale, large scale. It's very important at the end of the year to always review the production year and plan for subsequent years ahead. Very, very important. Very important. So, so I'll bring up Nathaniel. So I'd just like to ask, how was agribusiness for you this year? What would you like to say about the agribusiness sector this year? How was it like for you?
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's nice being with everyone this evening. I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Toby of Farmdev Consults. Thank you for having me this evening. Okay, so once again, good evening. I am Farmer Nathaniel Ejeba, and I currently serve as an agribusiness coach for Soilless Farm Lab here in Abeokuta, Ogun State. So generally for agribusiness, agribusiness is quite wide, and I cannot say that I speak for all sectors because you cannot possibly be in all the sectors, but I think I will speak on the particular sectors that I'm heavily involved in, which is the aquaculture, fruits and vegetables. That's the major, and a bit of animal husbandry too. So that's the major sectors that I major in. Now, how was 2025 for us in the horticulture sector? Generally, taking if I want to provide a summary of the year, it was a bit lower in terms of profitability, and I will explain why. In the year 2025, we saw a gradual increase of agricultural inputs. That is the fertilizers, the seeds, the pesticides. We saw a gradual increase in pesticides and what we need for our agribusiness. And not surprisingly though, there was a reduction in general prices up until about 3, 4, 5, for about a month now. We've had, for example, habanero prices going for as low as 1 to 900 per kg, whereas in other years it gets to 3, 5, 4,000. So it's quite contrasting to see that as agri-input prices was increasing, by the time you are done production and you go to the market, it is reducing. So generally, for us in the horticulture sector, yes, there were points that it was a bit high. It was a bit high, yes. But if you want to take a summary of what we've had this year, it's beyond the low. And if you want to also look at it climate-wise, this year did not really follow a particular pattern. It was not so regular, okay? So you find out that many persons that were farming without irrigation, they ran at a very huge loss. Why? Because when you are in the horticulture sector, you need constant water. It's not like cassava and maybe the cash crop sector, you understand? And by the time they predict, okay, rain should have started falling by this time, they go and do their land preparation and all, then the rain ceases for a while. Just 2 weeks of no rain can devastate a vegetable farm. Okay, so for climate-wise, in the year 2025, it was not as predictable. And even, okay, I can even say this month in my location, rain has fallen. And I've been farming here for the last 3 years, and that has not happened before. Rain falling in the month of December. So even climate-wise, it has not been very predictable. So I'll say that would be a short summary of what we've experienced this year in the agri sector 2025, especially the horticulture and aquaculture section. Thank you. Let me also add, um, while production, the production, when you look at the farm in terms of productivity, yes, um, yeah, the production was not bad. We did not have what we call like a major pest attack that has been plaguing the horticulture sector for a while. We didn't have such major attacks that maybe made the news and all of that. So production this year was quite okay. But getting to this December now, especially for example, tomato farmers, we are having issues with abortion of flowers because the temperatures are getting very, very high and very hot. So I specialize in greenhouse and open field, and we are having a lot of issues with abortion of flowers this period because of the heat. So those are just some of the challenges that we faced in the year 2025. And over time, we've seen how to navigate these challenges. But so that's one thing about farming. It's all about continuous adjustment. So many people come and say, I want to go into this. What is the best seeds that I can use? I usually tell them, yes, it's good to get the best seeds, the best fertilizer, the best everything. But more importantly, you have to get your management right. So overall, the climate has been fair a bit if you know what you are doing. But that's it. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I agree with many of the things you said. In fact, this year the cost of inputs was very high at the beginning of this year, and a lot of farmers were expecting that, oh, the output, also the price of things will also go up. But unfortunately, the price of many agricultural products went down. In fact, corn went as low as at some point 300,000 per ton. Some were even buying it lesser than that. And the climate this year was, I can say, very favorable. We were able to farm many annual crops 2 times comfortably in the western part of the country because it rained till late November, unlike the previous years where rain stopped maybe early October or maybe mid-October. So thank you for giving us an overview from your end of what the agricultural sector or the agribusiness sector was like this year. So what are the opportunities you are looking at or you are expecting in the agricultural space in 2026?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Now, I always go with this. If you're looking for money, you have to look at where the challenge is. The reason why you say somebody is rich is because the person is able to solve a challenge that cuts across many people, and they are willing to pay for that solution. Okay. Now, it's also the same thing in agribusiness sector. You have to look at what are the areas that are bringing a lot of challenge. Looking at the challenge and how you can provide solution is a pointer to the opportunities. Okay, it's a pointer to the opportunities, and I'll just be highlighting a few challenges and the opportunities that comes along with it. Now, we are all aware of the movement, or what we call the Japa movement, okay, whereby we have a lot of persons moving to like moving out of the country for better opportunities like the UK, the US, Canada, and the likes. Now,
Yeah.
why that is a brain drain, because we have the best of doctors, engineers, and all of that moving out. It's also presenting an opportunity. Why? Because you have people that have a taste for Nigerian food in these countries and they are not able to cope. So I've heard from so many of my colleagues, like in the UK and the likes, they will tell you that they don't have, their food is not peppery. Okay, so people moving out of the country, they have a taste, they still have a taste for Nigerian dish. I'll give you a practical example. We had one of our ex-students from Eya. She's in Ibadan actually. Now, what did she do to even curb this a little? She made a product. It is called Otasonson oil. It's like an oil infused with pepper. So if you can just buy that bottle of oil, it is actually infused with chili pepper, habanero pepper, and you're able to take it out. Any bland, in quotes, bland food you are eating in the UK, you can just sprinkle a bit of that oil because Nigerians generally we love pepper, and if particularly you are from the southwest, we love pepper so much. So just imagine a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, they still have a like a taste. They want, even if they are outside of the country, they still want to have a taste for Nigerian products. That is a problem in the sense that we have a lot of people moving out, but in the same vein, it is also an opportunity. Now, here on my farm, we've started keying into such opportunities already. We now send fresh ugu, ewedu, efotete, shoko to the UK and Canada. We also send dehydrated and freeze-dried vegetables. So anyhow you want it, it is an opportunity that it's a problem, but it's an opportunity that a lot of persons are tapping into in this year and in the coming years, because I don't think there's anything you can do to stop migration. People must move, right? So in the agribusiness sector, being able to find what you can export, what you can actually move, it's a very big opportunity. Now, following that same line of thought, before you can send a lot of products to other countries, you are not likely to sell most of them fresh, except you have, if except maybe you are close to a cargo airport that you can quickly move, which we are. We are just close to Lagos, so we can actually afford to send some fresh produce, right? But if you are not close to maybe Lagos or Ogun State, you will need to process either maybe by freeze drying, by dehydrating, smoking, if it's things like catfish. So for agribusiness 2026, we are also looking at processing. Processing, you have access to, okay, let me not get ahead of myself. Another problem that we had in 2025 is the problem of glut. Glut in agriculture is a period of time when we have lots of produce coming into the market, but the demand, when in economics, when you have a lot of supply but a lower demand, we have a drastic drop in price. So that happened a lot in the agribusiness sector in 2025. So an opportunity for next year will be in those periods of glut. How can I process? How can I process? Because you will not want your produce to go to waste. One, if you are the farmer. Number two, you may not actually need to own a farm. You can engage in off-taking and processing. I know a couple of persons that do that. They off-take, it can be vegetables, fish, anything. Think of it. As far as there is a demand, if you can process it, it is a big opportunity. What that does for you, if you are the farmer that is producing, it gives you leeway into not being taken advantage of by middlemen. Now, I'm not demonizing middlemen, but there are certain times that it can be very frustrating when you have gone through the houses of production and you are almost they are dictating the price that you will sell. Okay, so if a big opportunity in 2026 is processing, if you are able to process your farm produce, it could be vegetables, it can be fish, it can be goat. If you are able to process, you are solving a particular problem, and that is where opportunities are. Another one for 2026 is distribution. Okay, you will find out that a particular agri commodity is very cheap in an area. Now, generally in anything business, the closer you are to the source of a material, the cheaper it is. For example, you will find out that mangoes, oranges, yams, they are cheaper in Benue, but for somebody in let's say Lagos or in a state whereby we don't have a lot of these fruits, it's expensive. Now, the production in Benue, they will say Benue is the food basket of the nation, is actually very okay for the nation. But what do we have? We find out that distribution is a problem. Another example is crayfish in, let's say, Akwa Ibom. In Akwa Ibom, the crayfish is quite cheap, right? But when you go to other places and you see that it's a bit expensive, what is the problem that we are having? It's a distribution problem, right? So I would say it's logistics and distribution. That is a major problem. Now, how can you key into this problem to provide a solution which turns into an opportunity for you? You can engage in cold storage or cold storage link up. Okay, so for we have, for example, cold trucks that we use to move our vegetables and all of that. It's a very big one because you see that, yes, I know it's a risky one, but come on, is there any venture that you would do that there is no risk? There's none. There is none. But if you have a source, for example, how can you get crayfish in Akwa Ibom and just move it to Benin or to another state that is not like a river area where it's not so common? It is what? It is a big challenge, and as such, a big opportunity. So I will say I will stop here, but let me close this section with this. If you want to look key into opportunities in agribusiness in 2026, try to find out where the problems are. If you can provide a solution to these problems, you will have a cash cow that will generate income for you. So go out there, ask farmers, ask distributors, ask the market people, what are the challenges you are facing? If you are able to provide a solution, you will be able to open up a source of income that can provide a lot of money for you in 2026. So it's not an exhaustive list, but because of our time, I think I will just stop there.
I agree with you. Because distribution, in fact, you don't have to be a farmer, or you don't have to own a farm, engage in distribution. All you have to do is to identify places where products are cheap, and then places where they are expensive or where they are at higher prices. In one of our farm locations, the price of yam that area is ridiculously low. So anyone that identified that opportunity in that area that is able to buy yam from there and probably take it to places like Lagos or maybe to the town, to the city, sell. Person will make quite a lot of money just from yam. Identify where it's being sold at a cheaper price and selling at a place where it is expensive. So thank you so much. I think
sorry, let me just add something there. Now, when we say something like distribution, it's not as simple as we think. It actually involves you going to the market, because people think that when it comes to agri distribution, you can just call one person there, let them arrange logistics, send it to this place, and you sell it. I am not someone that will just, in quote, bobo, it's actually a lot of work, right? It's actually a lot of work, and there are many risks involved. But if you can actually take that risk, go to the market, interact with these farmers, interact with the source where you get these items. Okay, the one I'm working on this year, I'm working on onions. I was able to get someone that's trained with us here at Soilless Farm Lab, and he has access to large onion markets in Sokoto. Now, I've been able to buy onions and store in a
Wow.
very short time now, I will be able to sell those onions. So it's something like that. But many a times when we say it, people just, oh, okay, from the comfort of their room, they will just run everything. It doesn't really work like that. Sometimes it's not a difficult business model, but it involves you taking a bit of risk. Go to talk to the farmers, talk to the distributors, talk to people that will buy. Okay. So in essence, what I'm saying is move out of your comfort zone. Go to these places, move out of your comfort zone, go to these places, see how it's being done, and start moving these products. And with that, you will discover that it's actually a very lucrative um, business. So thank you. That's what I just want to add.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. To add to the opportunities in 2026, personally, I think farmers or investors should look at commodities that the prices are not exactly determined locally in 2020. There are some products that the prices are not exactly determined by the factors that affect our nation. I can say maybe products like corn, products like corn now, it's determined by the economic situation of the country. The policy can come and it will exactly affect it. But there are products that are export products that the prices are not exactly determined locally. Products like ginger, products like cocoa, products like cashew nuts. There are some products like that. If farmers can look into that, and I mean investors can look into that, I think they will be able to absorb the shock that comes with internal policy changes and some other things that affect price of commodities. For example, this year there was a policy of study that importation of corn is accepted, is allowed, and that crashed the price of corn. A lot of corn farmers were not so profitable as they ought to be because of that. And we're talking, when was that? And you told me of a policy also that affected, I'm trying to remember the products now, that you cannot export it raw.
Yeah,
As a
yes,
raw
share
commodity.
nuts, share nuts,
Yeah, not
share
exactly.
butter. Yes.
Exactly. Like you have to process it before it's being exported. So, and it affected a lot of farmers doing that also. So, I think that's something agribusiness investors should also look at for the coming year. Invest in something that and the price is not exactly determined locally. Thank you, sir. So now let's break it down because we have different set of persons watching this. We have smallholder farmers, we have commercial farmers, and we have investors watching this. So how should they position themselves for 2026? Now we are going to break it down. How should smallholders farmers position themselves? How can commercial farmers position themselves, and investors position themselves for the opportunities that we are looking at in 2026?
Okay, thank you very much. So we basically categorized into the smallholder farmers, the commercial farmers, and investors. Okay, so let me start from investors. For investors, please, I want to let me say sound a note of warning. Agribusiness or the agribusiness sector, yes, there are some investments that you can make that you can see as as a retirement plan. You understand? Something that will not give you too much stress. Um, like my brother here, Mr. Toby, is into setting up of cashew plantation. So yes, there are some sectors, but overall, agribusiness sector It's not a sector that you just, oh, I'm putting 100 million, let me relax, and I will get 150 million. It is not always like that. If you're an investor in agribusiness, you have to put your money, you have to put your energy, you have to use your connections, your resources, every resource available to pull through. It's not enough to just find somebody and to say, I'm putting in 200 million, I'm getting 300 million back. No, it doesn't really work like that. Okay. So if you're an investor in 2026, don't just invest and just lay back. No, 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 no. So number one, you have to be actively involved. You have to be actively involved, unless you'll be able to, and there are not a lot out there. People like Farmdev consults now that you can invest in and have a little bit of peace of mind. You understand? Many persons out there, there are many in quotes scammers, and some of them fail not as a result of them being scammers. Some of them promise outrageous. So I was talking about investors, right? And how we do not just need to put money and just expect. No, there needs to be some form of follow-up from you, okay? So it's as investors for 2026, don't just put your money out there and say, oh, it's going to, you have to find a way to follow up. And secondly, there are many persons that it's either they don't know what they are doing. So imagine somebody promising you 50% return on investment, right, for maize production. Many a times, maize farmer find it difficult to break even, and you see a post of somebody promising you 50% return on investment. Do you know what that means? It means that if I can promise you 50% return on investment, and you bring in 100 million, it means that I'll be able to give you 150 million back. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that I am making more than that for me to promise you that certain percentage, right? I need to make more than that. Now, many persons just, oh, wow. So if I put 100 million, I'm getting 150 million back. It doesn't really work like that, okay? So as investors positioning ourselves for 2026, we must be sure that, in quotes, we are not overly greedy. We must be able to look out for opportunities that are not outrageous. A very quick way to spot scams, where when you see people promising you 150% return on investment in agribusiness, those numbers don't work. I can tell you for free, those numbers don't work. So as an investor, look for moderate percentages, right? Look for moderate percentages where you are going, okay, like this is not too much. Okay, so as an investor, that is what you want to do. So that is on the side of investors. For when we are looking at commercial farmers, people that do farming on hundreds of hectares, thousands of hectares, you would want to start looking at contract production. Okay, contract production is a situation whereby production is a situation whereby someone is saying to you, I need this amount of product. Can you produce for me? I'm willing to pay for it at this price and this quantity. Just about 2 weeks ago, about 3 months ago, we had somebody reach out to us that they want a specific kg of ugu. So we cleared a portion of our land, and good for us, that is where we have our fish pond. So that's where we also planted our ugu. So for irrigation, we just use the wastewater from the fish to irrigate the ugu. Now, us going to plant that ugu, we already have someone that has paid, that we signed a contract with, that has paid for it. Okay. Because one of the things about commercial farming is that you are doing it on a large scale. Now, imagine after producing on a very large scale, you are now finding it so difficult to sell. It can be quite devastating. So for commercial farmers, we need to start looking at contract production or industrial production. Industrial production, I'm talking about farming things used in an industry. Okay, and let me just give an example. One of such is it may be surprising to some people, but chili pepper. Chili pepper, there's not a high demand for chili pepper in the sense that once you can grow chili pepper and you can dehydrate it, let me not say, okay, let me just say, no matter the tons of chili pepper that you produce and you are able to dehydrate it, you will get a buyer. So when we farm things for industrial production, another example is things like cassava, right? There are companies I know in Ogun State, like Green Tech and the likes, they process a lot of cassava. So for commercial farmers, if we are able to get contracts that we can say, oh, this particular crop can be moved directly to an industry, it limits the market risk for us. Okay. Now, for smallholder farmers, try to yes, we've already called them small, yes, but try to farm what you can sell. Try to farm what you can sell profitably. We've said that a business is a venture that is started for the sole aim of making profit, right? Agribusiness is no different. So there's no harm, there's no need, rather, to going through the stress of producing something that you will not be able to sell at a good price, or because of the volume, you are not able to sell at a good price. So for smallholder farmers, look within your environment, ask yourself this question: what can I sell and distribute effectively, such that even if I'm doing it on a small scale, I will still be able to make profit? That is what we should start looking at in 2026. This year, it happened. Now, it even happened to us, right? We had someone that wanted that we had an agreement. Let me call it a gentleman's agreement with to obtain all our fish. And at the last minute, when the fish was getting ready, this person pulled out. So I know the stress and everything. That's when we now started processing into smoked fish. But obviously, for somebody that had previously agreed to pick everything, we have about 30,000 capacity. So it was a lot. We actually ran into some loss at some point. So it's better what you produce what you think you'll be able to sell comfortably, right? Comfortably, whereby the market is not able to just cheat you. Okay. Now, another thing or note for smallholder farmers is that we can be able to stagger production. If we can even go as well for commercial farmers, you need to be able to stagger your production. If you have, for example, 2 acres of land, don't plant the 2 acres all at once. Okay, you can plant a quarter of an acre, wait another 3 weeks, plant another quarter of an acre, wait another 2 weeks, plant like that. So all your production does not get ready at once. That puts enormous pressure on you to sell. Okay. So for 2026, there is something that we call batch production. Try to see how you can space your production such a way that the market is not taking advantage of the fact that you have a lot of produce and you now have to sell at a reduced price. Okay, so we can stagger production. So I just hope I've been able to do a bit of justice to that question.
Yes, I agree. You know, when you stagger your production, batch production, it's more like also reducing your risk. In the sense that on batch, because maybe when ready for sale, because the price at the moment might be low, the next batch when it's ready for sale, the price at the moment, might be better. We are trying to also reduce that we are going to next. The risk we should watch out for, look out for in 2026. I know there are different kinds of risks. We have management risks, we have financial risks, we have production risks in agribusiness, and there are many others also. So, what are the risks you think farmers and agribusiness owners should watch out for, in 2026?
Okay, thank you very much. So there is no industry that comes without risk, but agriculture, agribusiness has a particular risk. There are a lot of risk. And in the agribusiness value chain, the closer you are to production, the more the risk that you have to take. Okay, so for farmers, part of the risks that we are facing is security, as it's not a very nice one or a nice state that we are in the country. One of the risks that we are looking at is security risk. So I usually advise people it is better to get an acre of land closer to the road than 10 acres inside the forest. Okay. You want to have areas where you have other farmers close by. So you have farmer A, farmer B, farmer C close by. So one of the risks that we face in 20, one of the risks that we need to be aware of in 2026 is security risk. About 2 weeks ago, I just followed a colleague of mine to inspect her farm, and on getting there, everything she planted was being eaten up. It's still happening. It's still happening, very much happening. She planted beans and she also planted granules. Not a single stand of beans or granite was left. They entered and they ate everything. So one risk that we should be very aware of is security risk. Even though they'll tell you the land is 10,000 per acre, but is almost at the border of Nigeria. Please don't do that. It's better you get 1 acre closer to the road that is easily accessible in the 2026, that you can easily enter. It's quite open. You can easily transport inputs and transport your finished products to the market. It is better that way. So security risk is one of the risks. Another one we need to be wary of is markets. The market. There's nothing as painful as producing, going through all the stress of producing, and at the end of the day, you are selling for less than your cost of production. No, it does not make sense. So that is a big risk. Now, I will give an example on how to mitigate that risk. If you are a fish farmer, right? If you're a fish farmer, and let's say you are doing 1,000 fish, and yeah, an off-taker is telling you that they want to buy your kilo of fish for 2,000 naira. It's like you just labored for that person. You understand? So you can now say, I'm selling for, if I sell at 2,000 naira, I'm going to be selling for less than my cost of production. So instead of doing say just selling like that, if you can get a smoking kiln, right? Now, if you are not able to sell everything, maybe to restaurants, to families, to households at a good price, you can take the excess off and then preserve it and then sell it little by little. So a very big risk in that we need to be aware of is market price, change in price. Now, even we as a farm, we've been able to combat that a little. Why? Because I had earlier told you that there was a glut in, for example, the habanero market. It got so bad, it was even selling premium grade A habanero, selling for 900, 1,000, 1,200, which is very poor compared to recent years. So what we're able to do, we're able to get dehydrators. So once we notice that there is a growing trend of lower prices, what we just do, we slice the habanero, we dry it, and we turn it to powder. So that's one of the ways that we're able to mitigate that risk. So we can now take that habanero powder and start selling little by little. Okay. Now there is also policy risk. You can make an investment and you find out that the government has made a policy that has rendered your whole investment null and void. So just imagine somebody has invested maybe 500 million into the export of shea nuts, and all of a sudden there is a policy that says you cannot export shea nuts in its raw form. You have to process it before selling out. If you are not dogged or rugged, you've lost that amount of money. So policy risk, you have to keep tabs with the government. You have to, when the Minister of Agri is talking, tune in, listen to what they are saying. Now, you may or may not like what they are saying, but you kind of get the direction that the government is looking at, okay? You kind of get the direction because they say after God, it is what? It's government. One policy that the government can execute can crumble your whole business. So there's a lot of policy risk in agriculture. So you have to keep your ears down, follow government, especially for investors. If you're investing big, you are talking of 500 million, 1 billion naira investment and above. You need to keep your eyes open for policies that may affect what your business. So these are just some of the things that we need to look at.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that. I think we also need to pay attention to management risk. Management risk, especially for people that own large farms or even small older farmers that have people working for them on the farm. Many farms close down today, not because everything is not set, but because the management is poor, the management of the farm. Getting good farm workers, getting a qualified farm supervisor, someone that understands the crop, understands the market, understands the products. Management risk is something that people should always look out for. I've spoken with a lot of farm owners this year, and one of their pain is that they really do not have good people to manage their farm for them. So management risk is also very important because we have quite a lot of people in diaspora that have investments in agriculture. Even in Nigeria, they have farms. Even some have close to 200 acres, 300 acres. But their pain is that they've not been able to find good people to help them manage the farm profitably. So what they just see is that, oh, they just get someone and the person just maybe just do anyhow, and then there is really nothing to show for it at the end of the day. So management risk is something we should also pay attention to. And pest and disease risk. Pest and disease risk is very important because for every crop, there are pests and diseases that are most likely most likely attack the crop. Every crop has their unique pests and diseases. Even animals, if you are into poultry production, animal like a catfish, that's aquaculture, even piggery, all of that. Every sector of agriculture has the production aspect has pests and diseases that affects that. So we need to pay attention to that. I think this even still falls under management risk because if your farm supervisor or your farm management manager knows what to do per time, he or she will know how to most likely prevent these diseases. So I think just to add to what he has said, there are a lot of policy risk, very important, very important, very important, especially for large-scale farmers. Policy risks, you have to listen to the news, always listen to agricultural news. I think that's something Farmdev is working towards to make it accessible for people to easily to have access to agricultural news easily by next year, the first quarter of next year, is something that we are working on. So you don't have to spend hours on the screen, but just scrolling through your phone in 5 minutes, you can have access to all the important information in the agricultural sector for the day. So it's something we are working towards. So thank you so much. So finally, what are the winning strategies for 2026? What are the winning strategies in the agribusiness sector for 2026 from your end?
Okay. I've said a bit of it before, but I'll just still recap. Distribution. My boss will always say, nobody will pay you for being a farmer. Nobody is going to pay you to say, you really thrived this year. You were a great farmer. Nobody is going to pay you for that. People are going to pay you for the produce that you are able to sell, not even the one that you are going to produce only, that you are able to sell. So one of the winning strategies I would say is, if you can, if possible, do a backward integration. And what do I mean by that? Produce what you've gotten a market for. I gave an example with our ugu. They say, you don't like ugu. It's not a matter of what you like growing. It's a matter of what you can comfortably sell at a good price and make profit. So one of the winning strategies for agribusiness in 2026 is that you have to farm from the market. Don't farm from the farm from the market backwards. Okay. You have, oh, what do you have another for? Well, I have another for 10 tons of catfish. Okay. I now go into productions of 10 tons of catfish. Okay. That way you are able to reduce a lot of risk. So that is a winning strategy. Now, for commercial farmers, you can also, there's what we call economies of scale. In what we call economies of scale is a concept whereby your cost of production is reduced the larger it is. Okay. So if you want to maybe plow 1 acre and they're telling you 30,000, if you want to plow 100 acres, it cannot just be multiplied. There will also be discounts. Now, what that helps you to do in general, it can help drop your cost of production. So a winning strategy for 2026 is economies of scale. How can you drop the cost of your production such that you can still remain profitable even when there is a glut or a reduction in price of a certain commodity in the market? So, yes, on one hand, I'm saying farm what you can sell. On another hand, so they are not contradicting. Go big, because by going big, you can save a lot on, you can reduce your cost of production. A winning strategy also is to consult with agribusiness experts like Farmdev consults, right? That is a winning strategy because there's what we call online farmers. For me, and for someone like Mr. Toby, we are young person and we are in the farm. I stay on the farm. Whenever somebody comes to say, oh, Mr. Nathaniel, I want to visit you, I tell them, come. What day is come? Come, I'm on the farm Monday to Monday. Do you understand? So a winning strategy in 2026 is to engage agri professionals like Farmdev consults, whereby you are assured of quality. You understand? You are assured of quality. You are people that know what they are doing, right? There are some persons that are just in this industry for to collect people money and on. But a winning strategy in 2026 is to engage professionals. I notice many times they spend a lot of money to buy land, they spend a lot of money on maybe tractors and all of that. But when it comes to paying professionals that will handle their production, they don't want to spend a lot. So a winning strategy for investors, go for persons that are experienced, persons that have track record, persons that are in the field. Those are some of the things that we can do. Now, if you want to distribute, see, when I tell people go to the field, go to the market, when you want to do things like distribution or aggregation, go to places, talk to real people, talk to market women. Mommy, what you want sell for here where you know they see buy? My pikin na okra. We know they see okra for this side for dry season. We know they see okra at all. Now, what does that inform you? Okay, if I can farm the okra or I can get the okra at a place where it's being produced massively, I can bring it here. Or is there a way I can push dehydrated okra into the market when fresh okra is not available? Those are insights that you cannot get in a book. So a winning strategy for 2026, leave the comfort of your room in agribusiness, go to the farms, go to the markets, engage the stakeholders in the industry. Okay, with that, you'll be able to get on first-hand information on how things go. So with that, you'll be able to make more and better informed decisions. So these are some of the strategies that we can put in place to ensure a profitable 2026.
Thank you so much, sir. You know that this year we're able to reduce our cost of production by about 15% by buying our inputs in bulk. You realize that a chemical that is sold for 6,000, when you tell them you want to buy 15 dozens, that same chemical will be sold for 4,200 because you are buying in bulk. So it's a winning strategy, especially if you own a big farm. Don't buy your input small, small. Oh, okay, today we are applying fertilizer. You go and buy the 5 bag that you need. Oh, tomorrow you have, buy everything in bulk. You'll be surprised at the discounts you'll be giving. You are reducing your cost of production. So thank you so much, Mr. Nathaniel, for this. I just want to ask you to be specific, because there are some practical farmers that will watch these videos, and they'll be expecting to hear the crops that you will encourage them to cultivate in 2026, and the livestock that you think that, oh, they will be that would be profitable for them in 2026. So what are the crops you think farmers can look into in 2026?
Okay, for long-term crops, they have relatively stable prices. Okay, they have relatively stable prices. So things like oil palm, cashew nut, cocoa. Now I'm saying this because these ones, they take a long period of time, but when they start producing, it is usually steady, right?
Yeah.
So if you have the financial wherewithal, you can invest in cash crops for the likes of oil palm, cocoa, um, and the likes. So those plantations generally, if it might even surprise you, you can go into, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of, hey, soursop. Have you gone around and you've seen a soursop plantation? Hardly. It's something that you can go into, and a small soursop fruit can sell for as much as 1,215, 2,000 or even more. You understand? So you can go into long-term crops that have a lot of stability. Okay, cash crops that have a long-term stability. Then you can also go into crops that have storage value. For example, yes, I know. So something like sesame, it's also called seed, sesame, right? If you produce sesame,
Yeah.
you can store it a bit. So I did that a while ago. I farmed sesame. I sold a bit of it after the farming season, and I waited for about 2 months before selling the other. Okay, so in 2026, you can also look at going into sesame, right? Sesame, it's something that even if there is, let's say, a glut in a particular time, you can always store it. You can also go for things like
And
maize,
it's an
right?
export crop also.
Yes, it's an export crop. For maize too, I know the maize market was not too good this year, but if you can find a way to store, it can also be something you want. But be very careful about maize because of the whole policy thing around it. You need to be very careful around maize. But also for maize, as we said earlier, if you can go big for maize, you should break even and get profits. Okay. Then you can, on the other side, you can also do things that have a quick turnover, right? So for us now, we have a 430, a wedu. Those things don't take up to just a month and few weeks, and they are ready. You've harvested, you've sowed, you've prepared the land, you are planting again. So things that have a quick turnover, you want to invest in things like that. Things that are not so difficult to manage. Okay, we want to invest in things like that, things that have a quick turnover. Because in agri sector, as in any sector, you need to have what we call cash flow. Cash flow, money coming in, money going out. It keeps the business alive. Now, for persons that have, let me say, a dream of having a very large a farm settlement, you can find a way to even integrate the three into your farm. Have products that are giving you cash on a daily basis. Have things that, like sesame, that can give you a bit of bulk money, and also have plantations. Those ones are the money spinners, but they're in the long run. For plantation, you should be expecting a revenue anywhere from 4 year and above. Minimum is 3 years for you to start getting any money. You understand? So those are some of the crops that you can go into. Then I would also want to add that please look at your closest area. What do you think you can sell well? As I said before, try to farm from the market, not just farming out of passion. Try to see what you can actually sell well. and that is what you should go into. Now, those I can just give you a bit of hints, okay, do this or do that, but in your own local, so just imagine I'm telling you, oh, in Southwest, if you farm pigs, you will get a lot of money. And somebody, let's say, for example, in Sokoto, oh, wow, they said pig in that seminar, let me go and do pig. And you're in the north, you are just wasting your time, okay? So as much as we can recommend, it's better that you go into the streets, ask for the prices, look for what you can actually sell quickly in your area. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, this session has been so insightful. And we are going to be posting this video on YouTube so that many other farmers, smallholder farmers, large-scale farmers, agribusiness investors can see this video and watch it, because many persons are looking at what they can do in the agricultural sector in 2026, and they need professional guidance as to what they can do. And I'm very sure with the knowledge that has been shared today, many investors, many farmers will be able to take one or two things that will help them in their agribusiness journey in 2026. Thank you, Mr. Nathaniel. We are so grateful to have you here with us today. Let me use this opportunity to talk about a project that Farmdev is currently doing, which is Farmdev Cashew Estate. It's an 100-acre project, such that I was speaking with Mr. Nathaniel some time ago, and he said there are 3 types of investments a farmer should have. You should have a short-term investment, medium-term investment, and long-term investment. Short-term investment like maybe maize, cassava, and all of that. Medium-term investment like plantain, and long-term investments. Very important. Long-term investments are something that would not generate in the short term, but once it begins to bring income over the next 30-40 years, you are still earning from it. And one of such is cashew. So with 1.9 million, you can own a unit in Farmdev Cashew Estate. 1 unit is 1 acre. And what this money covers for the land and the management of the cashew for 3 years till it begins to fruit. And then you keep any yearly till for the next maybe 25-30 years when the cashew stop fruiting. So that's about Farmdev Cashew Estate. If you want more information, you can definitely reach out to us, and then we'll provide more information about that. So thank you once again, Mr. Nathaniel. Thank you everyone for joining this meeting. And I believe you've gained value and you've learned 1 or 2 things from this webinar. I think at this point would end the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nathaniel.